We're going to go through mitosis, which is that part of the cell cycle that reproduces new cells. The new cells have to be identical to the old cells because they are already in part of an organ. So they have to function the same as the original cell did. So this has to be an organized process so that all of the DNA gets copied and put into the new cell. This is the nucleus of the cell. The nucleus holds the DNA. This is the DNA. If you were to look in this in a microscope, you would not be able to see the DNA. It's still all too, it's unraveled. This is what we call interphase. And this is when the cell is functioning. It's doing whatever it needs to do as part of the organ that it is a part of. The next phase will be the first part of mitosis, and that will be prophase. So now we start heading into prophase, and this is when you will be able to actually see the chromosomes. They start to condense, which means that they become tightly wound. And now you can see in the middle of the nucleus we've got chromosomes. If you looked in a microscope, you would be able to see those chromosomes. These are the centrosomes. They're going to help direct the traffic, as it were, of the movement of the chromosomes. You will see they send out some spindles, and soon we're going to see the chromosomes lining up on the metaphase plate, which is now going to be the beginning of metaphase. So here is metaphase. These are your chromosomes all lined up in the center of the nucleus. The centrosomes are on the sides, and they're sending out these spindles. They will help direct the traffic. They'll attach to the centers of these chromosomes and pull them apart, and you'll see that in just a second. So now we have a close-up of the center of our chromosome, and this shows these are the spindles attaching to what we call the centromere, centro as in center, and these are your two chromatids, right? And so they're going to be pulled apart in the next phase. And what we see here is the beginning of anaphase. Anaphase is when the chromosomes begin to be pulled apart to the opposite ends of the poles by the centrosomes. Here they're being pulled apart, and this is the beginning of the next phase. This is the phase called telophase, and in telophase we now have the beginnings of what will be two new cells with identical DNA. These spindles will start to break down, the nuclear membrane will start to rebuild, and we will start to have two new cells. So this is the beginning of our two new cells, and it's called telophase. Telophase is just the end of the cell cycle. We now have two exactly identical cells. They have the same DNA. So if this were skin cells, this cell would be the same as this cell, and then they could give rise to new skin cells. And the last phase of the cell cycle is cytokinesis. Cytokinesis is simply where you have two new cells. Cyto is Greek for cell. Kinesis is Greek for movement. So the movement of the chromosomes have created two new cells, and they are identical to each other. Mitosis is now complete, and we have two new body cells. And that's what mitosis is, the creation of body cells.